To parents out there who are going through this, or who may not have gone through this yet, don't ever blame yourself for it. That's a dead end street. Don't ever do that, and don't ever give up.
Welcome again to one of Wigs for Kids stories that will really touch your heart, not only from the recipient side, but also from the father side, a parent side. And I got to believe that Mike's going to be the first male that I've talked to. It's typically moms that I've talked to, but this relationship goes back a long way. So let me not waste any time. I want you to get to meet these two precious people. Mike, welcome to the Wigs for Kids story.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Introduce your son, a good-looking one behind you. He looks like your brother.
This is Austin Kurtz. You're 11, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get mixed up in all this. But yeah, he's 11, just turned 11 in September. And he's a healthy little boy.
Well, in regards to what has taken place, and Austin, just turn your head around so that we can see the aspect of where you've had some hair loss. Take us back 9 years ago. What happened when he was just a little tiny tyke?
Back in 2012, May of 2012, we were just at home that day. We decided to do burgers for the noon meal and made a campfire to do the burgers, and he fell in backwards. We got him out of there. I mean, it happened quick, but by the time we got him out of there, the damage was done. Yeah, we ended up going to a local hospital from there. And from there, they transported us to Akron Children's within probably the next half hour. We showed up at Akron. We were scared. We didn't know what to do or how to do it. But all I can say is I'll give Akron Children's an A+. They made us feel right at home. We showed up in our everyday clothes, no food, no money, no nothing. And they just took us in like family. Some bumpy roads that we covered, and then there was some highways to roll down. It wasn't all smooth, but we ended up where we wanted to be. We did a lot of skin grafting. This whole side here used to be bald. This patch of hair used to be up here. They swung this around to give him a full hairline from the front. And then the next major surgery was his ear. If you look here, it's a prosthetic ear.
Now, This all started, Mike, when he was how old? What was the age when he fell in the fire?
He was roughly a year and a half, just starting to walk. That's how it all happened. So he just toppled over, and we didn't get to him in time. And we've been blessed so far. We still have him here with us. And
well, the character that has come about, the years now that I've known Austin through Wigs for Kids, which has been a blessing. The growth, even when I first met him, that has to be 5 or 6 years ago. And but the growth even then, and I see this, Mike, in almost every one of the children that we see that go through a challenge, whether it's the cancers or the trichotillomania or any of the challenges of alopecia. When there's this hair loss, because that's where we come in connection with them. The character of the ones that are helped with great parents and support systems like the hospital, like Wigs for Kids and others, it creates a kid that wouldn't have been there. I mean, this is a young man. I mean, Austin, I love you. I can't tell you how much, because I watched you just mature. But I also watch you and your wife and your daughter's tremendous family support system. And that to me is really amazing.
We try. We're not perfect, but we try.
Don't get perfect, and it'll ruin everything.
That's true.
Well, Austin, tell me something. When you began to go back to school, and you were getting back to school, and you had the scarring and the loss of hair, I remember what you said to me, but what was the reason you really wanted to get a hairpiece when you first started with us?
I saw that other people had hair pieces, and it sort of sparked something hey, I could look like I have all my hair now. I was that could be actually sort of good. That's
been great. I can't wait till our next step of getting a new prosthetic for you, because baseball and everything else, and I have to ask this. Obviously, helmets and those type of things are part of the practice of bike riding, and for a normal individual kid that doesn't have some of the situations. Do you have to take any other precautions with Austin?
We don't really, no. The first couple years he played baseball. He didn't play baseball on a team, just kind of a fun, get together. And it's really a blessing in our area, Jeffrey, because to everybody in our area, this happened when he was really young, and he's always been that way. So to them, it's just Austin. It's the way he is, and they all accept it.
fishing, I almost won $100 by almost placing 5th in the fall brawl. I weighed in a 9.25 pound walleye, 29 inches, and then that was the closest I've got to winning anything myself. Hunting, I went to the heritage hunt. It's for like people that have like gotten like special needs and like people that can't go hunting as often, and like people like me that have gone through something. And I shot the biggest buck that day, 9 points, the shoulder mount.
Oh my goodness. That is incredible.
Leave it up to him. He'll get it done.
Yeah. Well, you also have, Mike, done some incredible giving to Wigs for Kids beyond the blessing that we could even ever ask or imagine. Tell everybody what you've done every year now for a number of years in regards to a fundraiser for Wigs for Kids.
And before we even get started there, I want to, give all honor and glory to God for this. And it's every event needs a leader, but I just want to say if it wouldn't be for all the sponsors and all the people stepping up to the plate and helping or showing up to fish the event, it wouldn't be possible. So the way I look at it is it's all of the people out there that's making it possible. But the way this came about is we got a letter in the mail from Wigs. It's how they operate off of all of donation, whatever. And if we're ever interested in doing an event or something, a fundraiser for them, they would be up to guiding us through this. And, we had gotten multiple wigs from Wigs for Kids. And I guess to step back a little bit, when we got home from the hospital, we didn't know which way to turn. And then, which Jonas, a good friend of yours, they stopped in one evening, and that's how we were introduced to this. And the first question we had is, well, what does this cost? And we were just blown away by when they said, no, this won't cost you a thing. And then to fast forward that to where we are now, we just felt, they did so much for us. And we were going to do this the year prior. We sat down, we thought about it, and I'm like, no, this is just too much for me. I can't do this. You get into the legal stuff, and you know how that all works. But the next year came around, and Miriam looked at me and she said, well, what are you going to do? So, I don't know. I've been praying about it. And finally, we just felt led to do this. 2017 was our first year, and which I have a lot of friends that fish Lake Erie with me. And they said, we'll help you. Well, our saying is wing it. We'll do it, So we did. We just felt we should give back somehow. And I guess the reason we felt that way is, being in the position that we are with Austin, we know how that feels, to not know where to turn, or, if this would not be available. It hurts. You feel for your kids. You want them to be normal. And to me, if I can do something to even help out one person, it's more than enough for me. That just, it makes you feel good. You know what I'm saying? But the first year we didn't have a lot of boats, but we had a fair amount of teams, and we were happy with that for the first year. The second year we had more boats, more teams, and then the third year it grew every year. And last year we had our best year yet. I think we came in with 40 some teams last year, and I think we raised an amount of right at $14,000 that we were able to donate. So, it's like I said, it's not me, it's all the people showing up and being a part of it. And we all have a good time doing it. It's a way we can give back to them. It just makes me feel good to help someone else. With all the help that we've got, it turned out way more bigger and better than what we expected it to. So, and every year people hear these stories, and every year I have guys calling me and they're like, hey, I want in on this. Just yesterday I met a guy just down the street here. I was walking one way and he came the other way, and he said, hey, you doing that Wigs for Kids, or what did he, Walleye for Kids tournament again? I said, yeah. He said, give me your address. I want to send you a check. I said, I want to help. So it's amazing the amount of support that we got, but in return, we want to run this in a way that it honor and glorifies God. It's really been a blessing, and we've been able to. I should have crunched some numbers before tonight. I'm just trying to think here as I'm talking, but let's say even $14,000. How many kids does that provide Wigs for?
Wow, that'll do over 15 kids that'll be able to be happy and blessed with the hair system. And I think a lot of people don't realize that level of what it takes to provide a child with a prosthetic. But even more than that, the ability to feel normal, to feel regular, to feel like Austin does, just like a regular kid, just to be a kid.
I guess I just now thought of it. I never really said where the tournament is or what it's. This event is held on Lake Erie every year. The first year we held it out of Port Huron. With all the other tournaments going on right now, it's just so full. We turn everybody loose, just let them go wherever they want, and then we meet at a certain spot. Usually this year we're going to do it in the Vermilion area, just to do the weigh-in and give away all the prizes. And we usually have pulled pork, and I usually do pulled pork. We usually do that over nachos. If you haven't had that yet, you need to try that. That's something you don't want to miss. But yeah,
Loaded nachos.
Just get together and have a good time.
Well, I want to thank you, both of you, because, Austin, you've been an inspiration to me, because what I do is to be able to see kids like you grow up and be who you are. That's always precious. And Mike, you and Miriam and your lovely daughters are just precious. I always admire your family, and I admire a family that loves God and serves God in the way that you do, and as humble as you are. I just want to say thank you from Wigs for Kids and from each kid you helped and their parents that you help, because, they can give them good medical care. They can give them a lot of things, but a lot of times they can't give them the hair back that affects their self-esteem in so many other areas. So thank you for being a part of our family.
Sure, absolutely. And thanks for having us. If you, Jeffrey, I don't know how close we're to done here, but I want to share something to parents out there who are going through this or who may not have gone through this yet. Don't ever blame yourself for it. That's a dead end street. Don't ever do that, and don't ever give up. There was times we were angry, if that makes sense to you. And I'll just be honest with you. Our faith was not what it should have been before Austin's Act. The first week we finally gave up, and we had to pray about it, and we said, this is your kid, either heal him or take it. Whatever, we give ourselves up. What I'm trying to get to is, I think it's in John 4 where you read this. God will never give you more.
Yeah.
He that is in you is stronger than he that is in the world. It's a verse that has kept me going. And then also Jeremiah 29:11. I can't exactly quote it, but don't give up. God has good intentions for you and to live a fruitful life. When we were in the hospital, we were struggling. We didn't know what to do, which way to turn. I had a guy call me one day. It stopped and made me think. And the reason it made me think is because of the lifestyle I lived before that. Don't ever give up. He said, God put you in this place for a reason. He said, you have no clue the lives you are going to touch with his story. He will never give you more than what you can handle. And that's what kept me going. Don't give up. Keep your head up. Keep going. You're going to break down. You're going to cry, and that's fine. You have to let it out. Don't bottle it up. I did that, and it ate me up. You have to let it out. Go talk with someone. I'll be that person. I'll be the listening ear, because I know what it feels. Don't blame yourself. I just wanted to put that in there for a word of encouragement. One more thing is, when Austin started school, everybody, well, you know how it is when somebody like him comes around, and it looks different. Everybody looks. So what we did, this is just to give people an idea. This worked for us. It may not work for you, but it worked for us. We went in, I wasn't alone, but Miriam went in with Austin, and they sat down with the whole class, and they explained his story, what happened, why he looks the way he looks, and everything. It just different level of acceptance. They respected him for who he was, and we never had an issue. Now, just this weekend, we had an incident where my brother-in-law passed away over the weekend, and then we were down at the calling hours, and the boys were outside being boys, playing football and roughing around, and there was some new kids there, and they'd never seen him before. So they started laughing at him and making fun of him, and of course, he was crying and carrying on and firing back, and you know how that goes. But anyway, they came and got me, and I went outside, and this was still going on. So I don't want to say this to make you guys think I'm up here, but what I did is I went out, I gathered up all the boys, and I made them all sit down. Listen, I want to tell you why Austin looks the way he does. Explain him the whole story. And it's kind of funny, but the kid who was making the most fun of him respected him the most. It's after, I guess, after they know why, kids, it looks different to them. To parents out there who are going through this, a lot of times people look and they don't want to ask, but they are really curious. Walk over to them and open up to them. Tell them why. It's amazing how often people open up after you do that. They want to know, they would like to ask, but they're afraid they're going to hurt your feelings if they do. I guess for what it's worth, that has worked for us, and it's brought us a long way. I just wanted to add that to people out there. We had some areas where it was trial and error for us. We didn't know how to handle it, and on the flip side of that, there was issues, certain things that we could go to people and, hey, what did you do about this? So I guess, for what it's worth, it may work for you, it may not. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to take it by feel.
It's so real, Michael, and I appreciate all the philosophy and all of the spiritual sense that came out of that. A number of years ago, probably way before Austin was born, we had had a play written for Wigs for Kids. Because I hated people saying kids are cruel, because kids are not born cruel.
No.
So we wrote a play, and the play was written by the title of "When Kids Know, Kids Care," and we had this play produced and put together and videotaped, and it won an award. But it was the basis of a kid always making fun of another kid and just terribly beating them up on the playground and everything else, just like what you just described. And once the child knew what was going on in the child's life, in this case it was a cancer child, it completely turned around. And I think that the scriptures, when you bring light into the darkness, or if you bring truth or understanding into the misunderstanding, it's a whole lot of difference that people turn and change in their life. And I just am blessed that you had that much courage to be able to really teach some kids some things for the rest of their life. I
really wish I'd have gotten a picture of it, because after I told them that, they all did a big group hug and they all said sorries, and they went back to playing football. So, to me as a father, it probably hurt me more than it hurt him, and they would have just wanted to lash out, but that's not the thing to do either. So
it's the father bear.
Right. Be the father bear.
Well, again, thank you for all your time and the stories and the sharings. Those are precious. I could never plan these the way that God weaves his story through the process of bringing people together to share their stories. So, Austin, keep growing the way you're growing. And we're here always for you at all times. And Michael, thank you for being with us as a family member. And please give a kiss to everybody from the family. I just miss them very much. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks for having us, Jeffrey.